What do you say? Hey, hey, hey. Look at this. You can start a radio show on a couple different platforms, throw it up here on Raider Nation Radio, throw it up on the JT the Brick YouTube channel. Man, this is pretty good stuff. How we doing? Yeah, Ohtani pitched an inning. He's back to being the best player in baseball. You might find that as a petty joke, but it's true. When he doesn't pitch and he DHs and doesn't play the field, he is not the best player in baseball. But you can't tell Dodger fans that because Dodger fans are in love with anything Ohtani does. You notice the Dodger fans aren't talking about Ohtani's interpreter, Ipe, reporting to federal prison. Notice that hasn't been a topic in Dodger land. If you got any topics you want in the box, let me know. We're basically going to be talking about that NBA game last night. Why did Halliburton not get benched? All of this. I got a little Geno Smith topic to throw out, which is filler, and I hate filler, but there's no news coming out of the Raiders, man. They're not practicing. They're not in there, so I ain't going to do 2 hours of fake radio. I can talk Raiders blindfolded in my sleep, but I got the NBA Finals and the Stanley Cup Final.
Here we go. For over 20 years.
It's the JT the Brick Show, broadcasting live from the Finley Cadillac Performance Studio, your silver and black home to sound off for over 25 years. And now, here's JT the Brick.
Out of the gate, JT with you as we're rolling today. Hope you're having a great day. We are coming to you from Las Vegas, Nevada, where it is hot. It's not end of the world hot yet, but it's starting to feel hot. As I kick off the show, it's 99 degrees. It'll be a high of 104, which let me explain that to you because I've been living here a long time. 104 feels like 90. That's about it. Now 110 feels like 100, but anything over 110 feels like the number. So it's hot. It's hot for all the people working outside. It's hot for your pets. God, my dog wanted to go out at 6:30 this morning. And we took him out at 6:30 this morning because that's the most important member of our family at 6:30 in the morning. So get out there early in Vegas, wherever you are. I watched a little bit of Stephen A. today, and it was emanating out of New York City at the seaport, and it was covered in fog, and it looks like it's going to be the worst summer in the history of New York. It's on pace to be the worst summer ever since the 1400s. It rains every day. It's cold. It's wet. Bobby, I'm going to spend a little time in Boston. Believe it or not, breaking news. Wife's never been. We're going to Boston in July for a little bit on the way through New York and Long Island for a little vacation before the start of the Raiders. But, man, I'm happy we live out here and we didn't start June out east and in the Midwest where it is cold and wet. But some people like it like that, man. I like it a little bit cooler here, but we got to roll. We got a busy show today. Levi Edwards will join us from inside the Raiders. He'll give us some Raiders content because there isn't much Raiders content now, and I don't overlook it, and I don't just waste time talking about third-string cornerbacks. Not that any other shows do. I just don't do it here. I talk sports. This is my 2-hour sports talk show, covered with Raider graphics all over the place, but I'm talking sports today. I will dive into the Raiders if you do. If you call in and ask me something on the Raiders, I want to do some Raiders, we'll do that. But this is summertime radio where I talk sports every day. Yeah, like someone just put in the chat. Angels won, Yankees nothing. Yeah, that's something. If you want to get under my skin today, it could be how the Yankees have scored 4 runs in 4 games and have been shut out in back-to-back games, and they still haven't fired Aaron Boone. That would be a topic that gets me going. But I got a lot to lead with here, and I'm going to go Raiders, then into the big topic today, which will be the NBA Finals, which has been very entertaining. Very entertaining, and we got a new storyline that I want to dive into. So yesterday, I was playing around on Twitter, which is not a good thing. And I was looking here, and a site called ML Football, which is a pretty big site, put out a tweet that said the top 10 quarterbacks in the AFC. That got my attention. Top 10 quarterbacks, not in the NFL, because every lazy member of the media and sports talk and television does that topic almost every day. Who are the top 10 quarterbacks in the league? And you get all that, and it's the same ones. Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, it doesn't change. But the AFC caught my attention, the top 10, because we got Geno, and he's pretty good. He's a really good quarterback. Geno didn't make the list. Oh, man, if this phone didn't cost this much money, I was going to throw it across the room in defense of Geno Smith. So here's the list. The list is Mahomes at number 1. And again, I know this is clickbait, and I'm pointing out clickbait, which is something I normally don't do, but I had to do it today because it's summertime and there's nothing going on other than the NBA Finals and the Stanley Cup Finals. So I thought this would be a good topic. Chiefs number 1, Patrick Mahomes. I'm good with that. Number 2, Joe Burrow. I'm not good with that. I'd put Josh Allen at number 2. Number 3, Josh Allen. Number 4, Lamar Jackson. Number 5, Justin Herbert. That is the top 5 quarterbacks in the AFC. And you could say those are the top 5 quarterbacks in football. They're all in our world, man. We got to beat these guys or get someone to knock their ass out of the game. The quarterback must go down, and he must go down hard. So again, ML football, top 5 quarterbacks: 1 Mahomes, 2 Burrow, 3 Allen, 4 Lamar Jackson, 5 Justin Herbert. All right, I'm good with all that because I do believe with all this Raider signage around me that Justin Herbert is a top 5 quarterback. Yeah. And I know as people are saying this is trash, and I get this site, but they have a big following, and some of the stuff they put out entertains people. So as I opened up with this thing and I looked at that top 5 list, I said, well, that 5 is right. For those who said it's trash, no, that list is right. The top 5 quarterbacks are in our conference, and we play in the AFC. That's a problem. That's a really big problem for us because these guys are all good. And yes, Herbert is elite. He's got everything you need. He's elite. But then it gets good. Now they have the next 5. At number 6, C.J. Stroud. Well, C.J. Stroud wins a lot of games, and he's young, and he takes them to the playoffs every year. Number 7, Aaron Rodgers. Holy crap, I agree with him. Aaron Rodgers has been one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. He's healthy. He's not coming off an injury. He's playing for a good team. The ball's going to come out well. He makes every throw. He knows how to break down film, and he can read a defense better than anybody you know. Oh, he's getting old. So what? What's old? His arm? His arm's not hurt. He's not in a brace. He didn't have rotator cuff surgery. He's fine. Number 8, Drake May. Are you kidding me? Drake May. Drake May from your Patriots, Drake May. The quarterback of the Patriots at number 8.
Really?
No, Geno at 8.
Really?
I said, oh, boy. Number 9, Tua. Tua's pretty good. He is. Tua's a good player. I don't have a problem with Tua being in the top 10 in the AFC. And then at number 10, Bo Nix. Bo made the playoffs as a rookie. But is he better than Geno? So I put out there, I said, so Geno Smith's not better than Drake May or Bo Nix. Sure. The completion percentage plus Pro Bowls, none of that counts. And I got a nice feedback on that. So you're saying, JT, what are you talking about here today? I'm talking about what I fight for with the Raider Nation. And a lot of times it's very misunderstood. I fought for Jimmy Garoppolo, Gardner Minshew, Jamarcus Russell. I'll fight for anybody in the Raider Nation. I don't want our guys to fail. I want them to do well. I know the difference between a good quarterback, an average quarterback, a bad quarterback, and an elite quarterback. Come on, man, give me a little respect. I've been doing this for a while. But it's another hit list. It's another hit list that comes against the Raiders. And for those who are saying, why are you bringing it up? Because I see things that other broadcasters don't see. I see the Raider insanity and the Raider hatred. Now, last year, I made a very big tactical mistake. I went all in last year on the same topic. Everybody hates the Raiders. No one's talking about it. Do you remember that last summer?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, boy. All I did was say, we're not getting any respect. We're not on any of the shows. No one likes us. No one thinks we're any good. Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay. And then they lost 10 in a row. And once they lost 10 in a row, I said to myself, can I do this again?
Yes.
But then, the reason I could do it again is because the organization had a complete reinstall of Chip Kelly. They kept Patrick Graham, which I like. They kept Rob Leonard. They went in and brought in what I think is a hell of a head coach in Pete Carroll. And they went out and re-signed Max Crosby and A.J. Cole. And they got rid of players that didn't deserve to be here anymore. We lost a couple of good players to free agency. That happens with every team. So with all that stuff pending, they brought in Geno Smith. And I've been very transparent on Geno. For most of his career, I didn't support Geno. No. I didn't think he was a very good player. And then he started to play well in Seattle, and I noticed it. I mean, it's hard to notice completion percentage, winning games, beating the Niners, coming back from behind, beating the Rams, playing really well and putting up big numbers and not getting benched, and everybody in Seattle, including the head coach, Pete Carroll, okay with it. So I kind of turned the corner with Geno Smith, but by no way did I think, Geno Smith is an elite quarterback. But then I met Geno, and I met him more than once. And as you know, I've interviewed him a handful of times so far, and the interviews went really well because I'm seeing a side of him that's really focused. He's a leader. He's a tremendous leader. He's been through a lot more than I think we all understand in regards to being benched and coming back. And then as Pete Carroll explained to us on Media Day, the way that Pete Carroll and Geno built this amazing relationship that kept Geno in the fold when he could have been down and out and said, I'm done, man. I'm not going to get on the field. Russell Wilson's playing every snap. Pete Carroll was able to keep him elevated mentally, and Geno was able to handle that. And now Geno is a starting franchise quarterback for the Las Vegas Raiders. So I like his story a lot. He's an upgrade from the quarterbacks that we've had here, no doubt, but he's going to have to prove it again. So where would I put Geno on the top 10 list of AFC quarterbacks? I'd put him right there behind Aaron Rodgers. I'd put him at 8. Yeah. I'd have him ahead of Drake May, Tua, and Bo Nix. Yeah. I would do that. I wouldn't have him ahead of C.J. Stroud right now, or Aaron Rodgers, or Justin Herbert, Lamar, Josh, Joe Burrow, and Patrick Mahomes. So I don't think this site, ML Football, is an anti-Raider site. I think it's a site that puts up a lot of clickbait. Some of it's good. I'm not a big list guy, as you know. I'm not a guy that wakes up every day and says, oh, Bobby, put together my list. I'll be in at 11:10. Can I have my list in front of my computer, please? I'm not that guy. But I thought this was kind of interesting because twofold. Number one, it's Raider hatred again. They don't believe in anything that we're about. They don't. We have to prove it to them. Pete Carroll, I won't even discuss this with him. Right. Like Antonio Pierce, I could discuss this with him. I could say, like, look, they don't believe this and that. And he liked that type of stuff in regards to it's us against the world. Pete Carroll, different guy, older guy. He doesn't care what anybody says. He just wants to compete and win. I understand the room. I can read the room pretty well. But what happens now is we have to come to grips with the fact that the division has so many great quarterbacks that even on a good day, we only play these quarterbacks once a year. Sometimes we don't play them at all. They're not on our schedule in the division quarterbacks. We have to be so good with Geno Smith when we play these elite quarterbacks that Geno's got to play borderline elite, and our defense has got to get to these quarterbacks. That's a tough test. I mean, that's a lot to ask for, but that's how you build the football team. So what I would say in this Geno Smith category and topic now, because he's such a good leader and well-liked and has an interesting story that we should all be able to relate to, that over the summer, as I got the Raiders training camp schedule right in front of me, which I got this morning, which I'll leave between me and my wife, who has to put our summer together, that it would be really easy for the entire global Raider nation to get behind Geno Smith. Not that he needs it. He doesn't need a pep talk. He doesn't need you to stand in front of him in a barroom brawl. He doesn't need any of that. I think it would be really smart that if every Raider fan who understands football, because you're really sharp and you love football, to get behind Geno Smith, because you were unable to do this the last couple of years with Gardner Minshew, Jimmy Garoppolo, and even a guy we like, Aiden O'Connell, a lot. Not a lot of people got behind Aiden as a starter in his second year. Give me a break. A nice player, but I don't know many people in Raider Nation that said that's our absolute starter, and let's spend 5 years building us up his career as Justin Herbert's in the division with Patrick Mahomes. We all love Aiden O'Connell. There's no knock on him. But Geno is an upgrade. Do we all agree on that? Gino's an upgrade, or do I have to pull anybody like on a tow rope and get people on board with this topic? So I would like people, not today, you can do whatever you want today, but for other Raider fans to explore what Gino's story's been, what he's told us so far, and the fact that I said that when we sat down in our media day, I said, I think you get this, Gino. I think you understand that this is your absolute moment. Not that Seattle wasn't a great place to play and a very good franchise that has done some great things lately. This is different. With all due respect to the 12s in Seattle and that organization, they are nowhere near as famous and glorified as the Raiders. So this is Gino's shot. Gino played and was a backup for the Chargers, and wherever he was a backup, he played for the Giants, who have 4 Super Bowls and 4 NFL championships, a cornerstone franchise. There he played for the Jets, which has been a dumpster fire. I think we all agree that this is the moment for Gino. Yeah. And I just wanted to bring that up. So what was the point of me saying that? Well, I clarified the point is that Gino's not top 5 in our league, in our AFC. But Gino can compete with those top 5 guys because he's beaten everybody in this league. Yeah. He knows how to compete and he knows how to win. Now he has to do it almost every week. He has to play at that level. So I'm really excited to see what Gino can do against Bo Nix twice in a year. I'll take Gino over Bo Nix every day of the week. I'll take Gino over Bo Nix, who was a better player than I expected last year. And I hope there's a sophomore slump. Gino. I like Gino on the road at Kansas City or on the road in LA, where we don't seem to be able to win in SoFi against the Chargers with anybody. So I'll take Gino in there and restack the deck because he played in SoFi against the Rams. But it's going to come down to Gino playing at such a high level this year that he puts the Raiders on his back. And that's not going to be the mantra from Pete Carroll. You have to carry us to the playoffs. But you know what I'm talking about. Gino's going to have a very big year this year. So again, what do you think the ceiling is for Gino when it comes to being a top quarterback in the AFC? Not the NFL. 702-365-9200. Because I need to hear from some fans in Raider Nation on your expectation with Gino. We're going to do that in the preseason. I don't expect him to play much. Do you want to see him play in the preseason? I don't. I can't afford an injury to anybody in the preseason, but Pete Carroll's different. Pete Carroll might want Gino to play a half. I don't know. I have no idea. But Gino's going to have a big year here, and I'm really excited for Geno Smith. And I was excited for Jimmy Garoppolo, and I wasn't super excited for Gardner Minshew. Give me a little bit of a break. But Gardner, he played the greatest 12 minutes of football last year against Baltimore, and we beat Baltimore and made the Raiders 2-2. Dare I forget, the Raiders were 2-2 last year. Take that all day long, and then we lose 10 in a row. I don't think Gino's going to be a part of a 10-game losing streak. All right, next big thing I want to talk about, which I can include everybody else on. I really do. I feel like this topic everybody can be involved with today. Last night we saw something in sports that you rarely see. A head coach in Rick Carlisle not able to pull the trigger and bench his biggest star. I love this topic. Rick Carlisle has Tyrese Halliburton, who's their best player. They got some good players on Indiana. In the first half, he was scoreless. Other than free throws, he had 2. He ended the game with 4 total points in 34 minutes. He didn't make a basket. He made 4 free throws. It was the perfect opportunity for a coach to bench a player, and he didn't do it because the player told the coach he's not coming out, do or die. If he was dead, he was going to play in the game. Wow. That's hard to do in sports. But I noticed that some coaches will not take their stars out of games. I mean, look at Cincinnati. You think they're going to take Joe Burrow out of a game if he throws 4 picks? Now, in hockey, we do it often with a goalie. You can have the best goalie in all of hockey. He gives up 3 goals in the first period. He's going to the bench. And you bench him, you give him some rest. It's not your night. We're not going to wear you out. You're not going to lose 7-2. We're not going to embarrass you. And they pull the goalie. In football, it takes a lot to pull the quarterback. I'm not talking injury. A guy gets injured, then you go to your bench. It's really hard. A lot of these coaches don't have the balls to pull a starting quarterback. Like Justin Herbert, who I mentioned, if he throws 3 interceptions in the first half, Harbaugh ain't pulling him. He's just not going to do it. But last night we had an opportunity to pull a player, and he didn't do it. And I think that was a huge, huge topic going on. Stephen A. Smith was on the broadcast for ABC at halftime. People thought he was crazy. This trended. Stephen A. Smith said, pull his ass. No one gave him credit for this.
And again, they do need Halliburton. I hate to keep coming back to it, but you hate because you just don't. Well, you want to be nice all the damn time. To be nice. I'm not trying to be mean or whatever. Just being factual. He looks bad. He was not active. He was not aggressive. And now that we know that he's not healthy, I totally agree with Big Perk. Sit him down. Get him ready for Game 6 because he's a minus 16 on the floor. He ain't helping the team. He's not helping them.
So that was interesting. He said, get him out of the game and sit him. Well, Indiana came back and cut it to 2. They were down 14. So, but Stephen A. made a really good point last night. Pull the guy. He's having a bad night. One of the most horrific sporting events of my life was when the Knicks were in the NBA final, and I think John Starks was 2 of 17 or 2 of 19. Someone put it in the chat. We're on YouTube streaming at JT the Brick YT. Find me that shooting effort. And I'm sitting there going, Pat Riley, you got to pull him. He's killing us. Or don't let him shoot. And we lost the game because he missed every shot. So when that happens in sports, it's really tough to pull a star. And I'm going to dive into this topic throughout the show because I want to hear from you. In baseball, a pitcher opens up the game. I saw it happen to Garrett Cole. Could happen to anybody. You open up the game, first inning, you give up 2 home runs. You're down 5-0. You give him the start of the second inning. He walks the first guy. Get him out of the game. He doesn't have anything. Pull a pitcher. But in basketball, we don't do that. And last night, that could have changed the entire series, that Rick Carlisle didn't want to pull him. So post-game, we'll get to the highlights later, Carlisle talked about the Halliburton injury and the fact that he thought it was smart to keep him in the game.
He's not 100%. It's pretty clear. But I don't think he's going to miss the next game. And, we were concerned at halftime, and he insisted on playing. And I thought he made a lot of really good things happen in the second half, but he's not 100%, and there's a lot of guys in this series that aren't.
So that was interesting. He said his best player wasn't 100%. So how do we deal in sports when a player isn't 100%? We're not, even the trainers don't know if a player's 100%. Do you know how many athletes have lied to trainers in a game and said, the trainer would say, hey man, can you go? Oh yeah, I can go. No, you can't. Yeah. But you don't know. You're not living in that body. So I thought that was interesting. Also, Carlisle talked about the injury and how it affected the game because the guy didn't score a basket.
He's not 100%. It's pretty clear. But I don't think he's going to miss the next game. And, we were concerned at halftime, and he insisted on playing. And I thought he made a lot of really good things happen in the second half, but he's not 100%.
All right, the big soundbite there is he said he insisted on playing. So what? You're the coach. Yeah, we live in a world now where coaches, players in the NBA are entitled. You need a coach that says, I don't care if you can play. Get your ass on the bench. We're going to bring in T.J. McConnell, who had 18 points in the game and was better. He only played 22 minutes, and Halliburton played 34. So how do I bring up this topic and connect you all on this show today? Who do you remember in your life in sports who played hurt and had a great moment? That they shouldn't have been playing, but they played, and you have a memory as a kid of that great moment. Kirk Gibson is the obvious one for the Dodgers. He couldn't walk in the World Series. He couldn't walk, and he came out of the dugout and hit a home run against Dennis Eckersley to win a World Series game. And now he's remembered forever. Do you remember Raider players or any other players in your life that played through pain? The famous Ronnie Lott cutting off the tip of his pinky so he can continue to play. But after that, maybe you have a couple of examples of players. Bobby mentioned Larry Bird. Larry Bird would lay down on the court when he would come out for a break. Lay down. He couldn't sit in a chair on the bench. Lay down and come back in the game. I remember Isaiah Thomas playing on what looked to be a broken ankle. I remember Kobe Bryant making 2 free throws with a blown out Achilles and walking off the court, not being wheelchaired out. But I want to know from you, because I don't think the world of sports is getting softer. I don't. I think the leagues are getting softer, not the players. I mean, the NFL now is trying to take away any form of violence in the sport. Any form of violence is being taken out of the NFL because the NFL is scared of lawsuits and the NFL is scared of something really bad happening. And the player that is at the top of that list now is a player I mentioned earlier, Tua. Like if Tua gets one more bad concussion and is laying on the field and his hands curled up, his career's over. The NFL will not let him play again. He's got one more left. And that's hard, man, because you're trying to win in Miami. You got a good quarterback. They won't let him play again. So we've seen a lot of players play hurt. But the thing that I wanted to talk to you about today so badly when I got in here was we watched a game last night where the coach should have made the right decision and benched the player who was playing poorly and wasn't at 100%. He didn't do that. So I think instead of me asking you what's a moment where a player in your mind should have got benched, a better question is, do you recall a time where a player played through such pain and injury and had a memory in your life playing through pain that made him more iconic to you? 702-365-9200. Because last night, that was crazy. The guy should have been benched. Listen to Halliburton and how entitled he is. And he's a good kid. He won an Olympic gold medal where he didn't play. Steve Kerr wouldn't play him. And he's playing with a chip on his shoulder. He's played great in every series. He's had a great moment. He had one of the greatest box scores ever in a playoff game, and now he has the worst ever. He's got the greatest ever box score in one playoff game and the worst of all time. Here he is after the game.
I mean, it's NBA Finals. It's the finals, man. I've worked my whole life to be here, and I want to be out there to compete, help my teammates any way I can. I was not great tonight by any means, but it's not really a thought of mine to not play here. If I can, walk, then I want to play. So, they understand that, and is what it is, and got to be ready to go for Game 6.
Wow, they understand that. He basically told his organization, "You can't touch me. I'm going to play. I'm going to tell you that I'm playing." That's the general manager and the head coach. Shut up. I'm going to play whenever I feel like I could play. Man, that's hard to do. That's hard to do. You got to have balls to pull that off. There's not a lot of people who can do that. I mean, if Geno Smith couldn't walk, like he got hit so badly, we put Aiden O'Connell in. Period. There'd be no discussion. In the NBA, you should be able to take a player out there. That's the monologue brought to you by PTs. They fuel the monologue, 5 to 7, midnight to 2. That's the best happy hour in town. They own the Strat. If you're looking for deals, go to PTs. There's a big trending story today that a strip casino charged $19. Let me get the exact number for a bottle of water, which is really trending heavy right now because it's just negative. The New York Post, Las Vegas hotel slammed after a guest was stuck with an outrageous bill for a bottle of water. I said, I want to look at this. I won't mention the hotel casino because we got a lot of partners here. You can figure it out on its own. When the gentleman checked out, the front desk worker informed the visitor that the water cost $26. And that turned out to be 10% of the room rate of $259. Wild. Isn't that wild? $26 for a bottle of water in a fridge. And we don't think we have problems here. And I tied into PTs. They're not looking to gouge you. They get the best happy hour in town, half-price drinks. I can promise you at PTs, they're not going to charge you $26 for a water. They'll give it to you for free. Head on out to PTs, proud partner of our show. So I just talked for 28 minutes. Anybody else want to talk with me? Let's go. Let's wake up people in the summertime and get them going on the radio. I came to the defense of Geno. Can Geno break into the top 5? Can Geno be a top 6 or 7 quarterback in the AFC? I believe so. 702-365-9200. Jeff Sherman a little bit later on the moving lines over at the Westgate as he joins us on Tuesdays. That was a good monologue, I thought. Yeah, everybody who's on Twitter, if you could subscribe, I'd appreciate that. If you were up there, appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, these phones absolutely suck around here in the summer, man. AM radio personified. Let's get the chat going. Let's get everybody going in here. We appreciate that.
Want to do 5 minutes on Ohtani before I get Stanley?
Yeah, sure.
I'll play that coming back.
Mhm.
Let's take another quick break and then we'll get started.
Yeah.
Now's the time for a great deal on a new Honda. It's time to drive smart with high-tech features and excellent reliability. Check out the Honda Civic, Accord, or HR-V. For a limited time, well-qualified buyers can get a 4.99% APR on a 2025 Civic or a 3.99% APR on a 2025 Accord or HR-V. Visit your local Las
Do we got to put this guy in timeout, everybody? Do we got this guy we need to put in timeout here? I'll let Raider D let me know. Yeah, we got some babies here. I haven't put anybody in timeout in a while. I'm not Bruno. Must like the show. He's posting a lot. Jesus. All right. Comes from Big D. Let's put this little baby boy in a timeout. Okay. Well, I don't want to ban the guy. I mean, that wasn't my goal. I think I hit the ban button. I think I banned the guy. I don't want to ban the guy. Yeah, I don't want to ban him. I put him in the corner. I don't know how to take him out of being banned. Yeah, let's see what we'll do. Put user in timeout. There we go. Put him in a timeout. Put him in the corner like a little baby. All right.
Our team members go from training to 6 figures, and we're ready to help you do the same. Don't wait. Apply now at a1garage.com/careers.
A1garage.com. A1 from day one.
Hey, it's JT here to tell you about the best pizza in Las Vegas. Grimaldi's. No one's there, huh, Bobby? New York style, coal-fired brick oven pizza. Grimaldi's has 4 locations in the Vegas Valley, or check them out online at Grimaldi'sPizzeria.com.
Hey, Las Vegas, are you tired of plumbing prices that break the bank? At 365 Plumbing, we're bringing fair pricing back. Family owned and operated, we treat your home like it's our own. For your everyday plumbing needs, we're here 365 days a year, rain or shine, day or night. Extend the life of your water heater right now. Take advantage of our $89 water heater special. Visit us at 365plummingnv.com. Bringing fair pricing back to the valley, one home at a time.
One home at a time.
365 Plumbing goes.
Man, Jesse, your girls bought you a Black Hole membership for Father's Day. My wife said it was super easy. Loved the show. Thank you. Thank you. I'll mention that. So we have preseason games. This would be, yeah.
Welcome back to the JT the Brick Show, brought to you by Modelo Especial, the new #1 beer in the U.S.
Ohtani's 28th pitch, a 1-1 to Bogarts. A chopper to the left side. Muncy charging along the line, in the glove, throws on the run. Freeman stretches, in time to get him. And so that will strand Arise. But the Padres do get one on the Manny Machado sacrifice fly, following the back-to-back singles to greet Shohei Ohtani in his Dodger pitching debut in 2025.
So Ohtani pitched last night, and we're excited about that. JT back with you, brought to you by the Black Hole. Jesse, who's in my YouTube chat, said, hey, JT, my girls bought me a Black Hole membership for Father's Day. My wife said it was super easy, loved the show. You can become a lifetime member at the Black Hole. Just go to theblackhole.com, click on memberships. You pay a one-time fee, and you're a member for life. And you can walk into any Raider game anywhere in the world and walk up to your brothers and sisters and say, I'm a member of the Black Hole, and they will treat you like family. I don't know of another fan base that does that in sports. I'm a Yankee fan. We have nothing like that. I'm a Knick fan. We have nothing other than overrated celebrities who sit in the front row, don't wear any Knick gear. They just try to be seen at a game. Did you see those Oklahoma City fans last night? They're in their seat a half hour before the game, chanting together like it's a college game. Yeah. And don't tell me, well, that's a market. They don't have a lot going for each other. No, I don't care. I don't care if it's a small market, medium, or big market. That fan base last night in Oklahoma City was absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible to see. 702-365-9200. So I said this about Ohtani. No one mentions that Ohtani, zero people around the world mentioned that his interpreter went to federal prison yesterday. That's not like on the Dodger retweets. That's not trending there. Everybody forgets about that. But Ohtani pitched an inning, and everybody acted like he was Bob Gibson in the 60s who went 14 innings and threw shutout baseball. He pitched one inning. Now, I understand what the Dodger fans are thinking. They've been decimated with their arms. They can't run away yet from Buster Posey and the Giants because they just got Rafael Devers, but they're better. And the Dodgers absolutely own the Padres. I mean, own them beyond owning them. I mean, the Padres put every breath of their existence into what the Dodgers do to them. But Ohtani went out there and pitched an inning, and the whole world went nuts. Really? Okay, one inning. If he went four, would I have been more impressed? Yeah, I would have been more impressed. It wouldn't have been an inning. So the Dodger fans just wanted to see him go through a warm-up, simulate a game, and he did, which is big. His arm looks good. He threw over 100 miles an hour. Wow. He had some nasty ball movement. Wow. It looked good, but one inning of baseball. Yeah. And again, that isn't boomer talk, get off my lawn. There's been thousands of pitchers in baseball history. Thousands who have been injured and came back and pitched more than an inning in the game, whoever they were. Nolan Ryan, go down the list. Sandy Koufax, whoever it was, came off an injury and grabbed the ball and pitched more than an inning. So Ohtani was able to do that, and I think Ohtani's a great player. And as I said, honestly, as soon as Ohtani pitched, he would go back to being the best player in baseball. Because he's not the best player in baseball if he doesn't pitch and doesn't field the position. The best player in baseball cannot be a DH. Now, you could be a DH and a pitcher and be the best player in baseball, and he is. He is. So congratulations to Dodger fans, because it seems like every time I turn on a Padre game against the Dodgers find a way to beat the Padres. I mean, they got boat raced 11-1 a week ago in San Diego, but that was a pretty good game for the Padres. But normally the Dodgers own their ass, and the Dodgers remind them of that. Now, for Ohtani going forward, will he pitch 5 innings in his next game? Will he pitch 2 innings in his next game? I don't know what the number is going to be. But the number is definitely going to have to be a little bit bigger than 1 inning of play. I thought it was cool that all Dodger fans got worked up on it. You would have thought the space rover landed on Mars if you followed Twitter last night and Ohtani pitched an inning. I mean, it was so over the top. You sat there and said, okay, it's the night of the NBA Finals. That's how big Ohtani is. It's the NBA Finals, and more people were buzzing on Ohtani taking the mound there. Getting back to the NBA Finals last night, Eddie Johnson joined me right after the game. And Eddie Johnson is an elite analyst, scored 19,000 points. 19,000 points in the league. And he had a lot to say on this topic about Halliburton, should he have played or not.
Yeah, JT, you got to shoot the ball, man. Look, if you – okay, fine. I don't know what's going on with him. He played 34 minutes. Like, if you can't go, then tell the coach and let McConnell play 40. Like, I've always said, and this is a guy like me that came off the bench maybe half of my career, and the one pet peeve I always had was I never wanted the coach to think the player that's playing in front of me on one leg is better than me with two legs. And it was pretty obvious McConnell was better, right? And so I think it's up to Halliburton to let that be known, And so I just think he was hesitant on his shot. I thought he had a hard time getting his shot off. I thought he lost any kind of aggressiveness early in the game based on their defense. And then his running made them hard. I just don't know what's going on with him. Like, he only want to shoot the ball. And by them not wanting to shoot the ball, they turned it over. And so very disappointing, especially when you get back in the game like the Pacers did. They were getting production from everyone else, but yet their backcourt did not give it. And then on the other side, you got two players scoring 71 points combined. Like, and Rick Carlisle, I think you got to question him, right? There's just no way you should allow Jalen Williams to get 40 and get 40 being guarded one-on-one. It was pretty evident that the guy was hot. You got to get the ball out of his hands. You got to at least blitz him and just show him something. And the Pacers all night didn't do it, and they've allowed two guys in two straight games to beat them. And for me to get this deep in the playoffs and have a chance to win a championship, you got to make other guys beat you.
So you got to give them a lot of credit for fighting back in that game. When they're down 14, they're down 12, they get it to 2. And then Indiana goes on a 7-0 run before Carlisle has to call timeout. As you're saying there, they got to within a point where they could have took the lead with one more possession. It didn't look like they had the energy to do it. Siakam and Halliburton just couldn't put the team on their back. And when McConnell did in the third quarter, that's what fascinates me the most, Eddie.
Yeah, exactly. So why not leave McConnell out there? I'm old school mentality, and Rick Carlisle's a tremendous coach, so I don't want to just pile totally on him. But I will get on him in the fact that the TJ McConnell situation, it just baffles me. It truly does. I know you think he's a liability defensively late in games, but you know what? He created so many problems in that third quarter for OKC. He was the reason why they got back in the game. He had 18 points in 21 minutes. Like, when a guy gets that hot, the only person that can guard him is the coach. And Rick guarded him by taking him out of the game. And I just didn't think he should have. I thought he should have stayed with them and see what happened. And it was just unfortunate.
That's why we have Jan. He played 22 minutes. You believe he should have played more. You could have played him 40. You could have played him more. They decided not to do this. Eddie, last one. What do you think Indiana has to do with adjustments to protect home court as they go back? They've been able to do that throughout the entire postseason. When their back is up against the wall, they come out ferociously. Yeah. I just don't know what Halliburton could do in Game 6 of this series yet.
Well, exactly. But I'm not going to focus on his perceived injury. He played 34 minutes. If you're going to go out there for 34 minutes, you got to produce. I don't care how you do it. If you can't, then sit down. That's the only thing I will say to that. But they'll go home and play well. Like, each game is its own entity, JT. I mean, yeah, Oklahoma City have won 2 in a row, and they won this one like you would think they would on their home floor. And Indiana's more than capable of going back there and doing that. But they're going to have to get some good play from their backcourt, man. Nembhard especially. Nembhard, to me, he's a very good scorer, but yet he is not trying to score. And it's hard to guard a guy that doesn't have to guard you. I'm going to tell you that all day long. If you're not going to make Shea guard, then he's going to have so much energy that he's going to abuse you. And that's exactly what's going on. And so their backcourt has to really step it up if they have a chance.
Thanks, Eddie, and appreciate your time, my friend.
All right, JT, appreciate you.
I wanted you to hear that. There's just a small portion of my conversation last night, right after the game. And Eddie Johnson came on live from Oklahoma City, and he couldn't believe how poor Halliburton played. And what's happening now and what you're able to do with the bench and the players and a rotation. And that's coming from a guy who played at a really high level in the league. Jeff Sherman's going to join us next. It looks to me that the Pacers, the number's 5.5. They're getting 5.5 in Game 6 at home. He'll explain that for us. Also, the new numbers in baseball now that Ohtani's pitching and how to bet the hockey game tonight. Our gambling insider, Jeff Sherman from the Westgate, next.
It's the morning tailgate.
All right. We're good. We're good. We're good. We're good.
We're going to play the final call coming back.
Yeah, the Thunder are -5.5. Wow. Wow.
When you need legal advice, you need the brothers. You need the DeCastro law firm. This is JT. They're my attorneys, and they should be yours too. For personal injuries and accidents, reach out to the DeCastro law firm. Let their family fight for yours.
Howdy, Davidson here from BetMoneyHoney.com. Would you like to become an educated sports fan that also knows how to place a bet? How about a library of how games are played, how to make bets, and hot picks of the day? Join me at BetMoneyHoney.
Bet money, honey. I wonder what she's betting on the game tonight. All right, we're going to have Jeff Sherman on here. Does anybody have any gambling questions? Anything gambling related that you want to put in there?
Great cities are built on strong foundations. The skilled members of Labor's Local 872 never stop building. From the asphalt on our roads, the
Hey, Jeff, it's Bobby. How you doing? Good, good. I'll catch up with JT. Give you about a minute and a half, okay?
Labor's Local 872 is modernizing the Nevada workforce.
He's in.
Okay, thank you.
World's largest Formula One attraction.
All right.
Plaza. Step into the action with F1X, a cutting-edge 4D experience where you design your own custom F1 car in a fully immersive 10-hour space. Then you can F1 Drive, the only karting experience that lets you race on an F1 circuit. It's Formula One, like you've never seen.
I only hang up on callers when they suck or they're boring. I mean, I take call. We haven't put 8 people on today. 8 people we turned down because so you're only going to get on this show if you add something, man. That's all we do. You can hear me talk. I don't have a co-host. If I had 4 co-hosts, man, you'd never hear from me, man. I just open up the segment, reading the sponsor line. You wouldn't hear a word out of me, man. But I got to do all the heavy lifting. The mean streets of Summerlin. Get your canes. Shit. Oh, man, I'm still a little sore from playing a lot of golf. 3 rounds in 3 days. Why am I sore? Because it's a lot of golf, back to back to back. A lot of swings, a lot of getting in and out of the cart, a lot of, just playing golf, man. These pros do it 4 days. I'm no pro, but I love it. Ooh, I just got my script for the draft class luncheon tomorrow.
Jeff Sherman's ready to go, and this is the final call from Oklahoma City.
Yes.
The Oklahoma City Thunder are 1 win away from their first ever NBA championship. For the first time in the finals, they
lead the Pacers 3 victories to 2, a resounding Game 5 home court win, 120-109, as the Thunder have 2 shots to get 1 win to hoist their first ever NBA title. Thunder Radio, we're brought to you by Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers, One Love. It's hot outside. If you want to get Cane's, the best chicken fingers anywhere, do it in the drive-thru, order on the app, become a Caniac at Raising Cane's and go to their store and see everything that they have there. That sauce is made in-store every day. That's why people line up for Cane's. Jeff Sherman joins us over at the Westgate, the VP of Risk Management. So, Jeff, I thought that was an interesting game from a gaming perspective last night. They laid a big number, OKC going into that game, and then Indiana cut it to 2, even though Halliburton was playing poorly. And then tell me how the game ended where Oklahoma City covered that spread.
Yeah, with the run that they had at the end, we had a lot of sharp money on Indiana plus 9.5 and plus 9. The game closed 8.5. And then when you saw the in-play action, we saw a lot of Pacers support too. So that big fourth quarter run got it over the hump and allowed Oak City to cover.
Yeah, the end game was really interesting to me because I figured Indiana would make a push to come back, and a lot of people would try to play that angle. But there's a closing ability for Oklahoma City that could take a 2-point game into a game that they can cover. They're very explosive with 2 elite scorers, one having 40 and one in the 30s. That was the difference.
Yeah, there's no question. And we've seen those type of spurts from Oak City throughout this season. And with what Jalen Williams did last night, they just couldn't stop him. He was in a zone and played excellent, scoring 40 points.
So going into Game 6, what did you open the game at, and has there been any movement so far?
Well, we opened OKC 4.5, and it ticked up to 5 this morning. And then with the late news about Halliburton's MRI and his questionability, the line jumped up to currently OKC minus 6.5. The total also dipped down from 224.5 to 222.5. So there's doubt whether he'll play, but even if he does play, there's doubt about his effectiveness.
Yeah, obviously coming off a game where he didn't score a basket there. I want to move over to the Stanley Cup Final tonight and the movement in the number there overall. As look, this is a make or break game in this series here for the Oilers, who have one superstar line, but the issue has been goaltending over the last couple of games and the confidence that they have for Draisaitl and McDavid to carry them in a game like this.
Yeah, we're seeing Skinner back in net tonight, so they keep flip-flopping the goalies for Edmonton, and this price has gone up from Florida minus 140 up to minus 150. A lot of public support on Florida to close it out tonight. So I know right now the book needs Edmonton on that side, but the series price too, along with the game line ticking up, the series price is up to minus 360 on Florida, which they've looked dominant throughout the series.
Jeff Sherman, VP of Risk Management over at the Westgate. So Ohtani only pitched an inning last night, and you knew he was not going to pitch long. I thought more than an inning, maybe 2 innings there. How hard is it to handicap a number like that with an elite player, which is going to bring in a lot of public money, a lot of Dodger money there, but knowing that his innings were going to be and pitch count was going to be limited?
Yeah, we had read that he was going to pitch 1 to 2 innings, and the price before knowing that was Dodgers $1.40, and we bumped it up to $1.60 just because of, like you said, the public perception getting behind it. So even though it wouldn't have had a prolonged effect on the game, there was that public perception. So we made an adjustment of 20 cents.
What happens overall with the number for the Dodgers, assuming Ohtani comes back and becomes a rotational pitcher who obviously completes games going forward? That's a goal for the Dodgers going forward.
Oh, yeah, and that will vault him up higher in the MVP conversation, being able to do the pitching aspect too, even though he's already leading that race. But the Dodgers are currently sitting at 5-2 for the World Series, and they're not getting too much support because they've been off to a rough start this year, relatively speaking, and the Padres and Giants are right there behind them. So sitting at 5-2 seems like a good, stable number at this point.
What about the Yankees number on the swoon, getting swept in Boston, losing to the Angels? Any movement on the Yankees?
Well, we're sitting at 5-1, which is actually a low point for the season. And I know the division race has gotten tighter, but then you look at Devers getting shipped out of Boston and helping them from that perspective. So right now we have some liability on the Yankees, and that's why they're 5-1.
Jeff Sherman, as we wrap it up, must follow at golf odds. So I wanted to ask you about J.J. Spawn and the rain delay and one of your great specialties. As you watch the back nine, knowing that Sam Burns was frustrated with standing water. Guys couldn't go that low just because of the rain, the weather, and the ability not to attack. And the way Spawn was coming from behind there after the slow start. What did it look like for Spawn coming in and then winning the payout?
Yeah, he was 150 to 1
Wow.
for the tournament closing odds, and we only had 3 tickets on him, so one of the better results for the book that we could ask for. And, you know, like you mentioned with the delay there, he got off to a rough start in the final round. The delay helped him out, and that drive he had on 17, the drivable par 4, was incredible to put himself up in an eagle position. But then the drive on 18 and ultimately the putt to close it out. Now, he had a nice help from Hovland reading the putt, but what an incredible putt to leave that right in the hole. So good for the book, and not many people had him.
And Jeff, can you leave us with something on the NFL? What's it like this time of year for you and the guys and gals working behind the glass here when it comes to the upcoming season, preseason games where you'll be taking bets overall, where there's not a lot of change now as athletes are taking time off before they start up for training camp?
Yeah, not much change, but we're gearing up for, we're getting ready to price every game for the whole season. We'll have that up in the next few weeks. So we'll have every Raider game, every game up available for people if they want to look throughout the season, things like that. We're taking money on the season wins, getting the contest ready. So NFL is 12 months a year.
And when will the Super Contest be open?
July 1st, we'll start taking signups for that.
July 1st, taking signups, and we hope to be a big part of that. Thanks, Jeff. Appreciate your time. Always do.
All right. Thanks, JT.
That's Jeff Sherman over at the Westgate there. We went through all the odds, everything that's changing in sports there. I'd rather talk to guys like him that can really tell you about it. Again, you look at this number with Halliburton, 6.5, 6 to 6.5. The Thunder are laying to win the championship. I just think Indiana at home's a tough out. I can see them losing, but not by 6, not by 6.5. But hey, the Thunder covered in that last game. With Halliburton not scoring a bucket, can you believe that? Levi Edwards will join us, and a little bit later on, next hour, we're going to have another guest that we're working on to cover the NBA. Yes, so we're going to have all this lined up for you with 1 hour left in the show. Yep, Gerald Brown is going to join us from NBA Radio at 1:30 as we're halfway home on Raider Nation Radio, brought to you by Boyd Gaming. Yeah. All right, man. Thanks, everybody. We're going to roll. We're going to do something later. Appreciate it. Kind of a low turnout today, but I appreciate the diehard bricklayers who are here. So we're going to try to come up with a little more juice because we had great juice today, but there wasn't a lot of juice on the other end. But I may not be the LA Chargers need to put up 60 plus. Okay. Everybody have a great day. I'm on tonight again. You can catch me for the Tuesday night mini monologue. Yes. Tuesday mini monologue. I love that.